Good afternoon. I'm here today to share my second installment on Tales from the Sweet Brook. Sussenbach means Sweet Brook, and that's where I came up with that title. I have a rich heritage in the Sussenbach family. My grandfather's name was Gus, and his father was Reinhold, good German names, and they were great people. Well, I want to share a little bit today about some experiences I had in living in Michigan. We moved to Michigan in 1981. The church I was to pastor had no parsonage, so we bought a house and land. It so happens that we got 37 acres with it. It had timber in the back, and we had all kinds of wildlife there. We raised ducks, and that was an interesting experience, and the ducks were fun. I really enjoyed them. We had a little pond, and they would enjoy swimming around the pond. The mothers would sit on the eggs until they got all hatched, and sometimes there'd be a mother with maybe 20 baby ducks following her swimming around the pond, and that was a lot of fun. We also had chickens, because we found out that if you bought 25 pounds of chicken feed, chick starter, you could get 15 free chicks, and of course they were all roosters. So we raised the chickens, and it was time to butcher them. Now, I had never butchered a chicken before. My dad always used an axe and with a stump, and he'd have a couple of nails in the stump and lay the neck through between those nails, and he'd cut their head off. Mom had a more interesting way of doing it. She would put her foot on the head of the chicken and pull up on the legs, and the head would be under her feet at the end, under her foot. Now, also, I've heard of other people who took the head of the chicken in their hand, and as they swung the chicken around, the chicken fell off, and they still were holding the head in their hand. I didn't really care for that method. Well, I decided I could butcher a chicken. I'd watched my parents do it. So I got a stump and a couple nails, and I decided to lay the chicken's head between the nails, and I took my axe, and as I went to make the first cut, it dawned on me after I'd done that, as the eyes of the chicken were rolling around, that the axe was not sharp enough. And because the axe wasn't sharp enough, I had to make another pass to cut the head off, and I couldn't finish it. My son was standing there saying, "He can't do it, he can't do it." And my wife came to my rescue. Norma was a great farm woman, and she was able to finish all the rest of the 15 chickens that had to be butchered. I gave up on it. Well, that was kind of a fun time, and we did have chicken that night, probably for supper. Then I could tell you another story. We were driving up through Wisconsin from Michigan. We went up to see Norma's family, and they lived up in Barron, Wisconsin, just north off of Route 53. As we left Eau Claire and were going north on 53, I discovered in the middle of the road there was a deer. Now, I don't know why I chose to do this, but for some reason I decided to straddle the deer, which really wasn't a big deal because I thought it would make it fine. The only problem was my car was a 1978 Delta 88, which hung really low. And of course, there was a bunch of meat on the hitch by the time I got done with that. My kid said, "What are you doing?" I don't know what I was doing. But anyway, we survived that one. I did stop in a car wash to wash the meat off of the hitch, thinking people might think I'd run over a person or something, which I hadn't, of course. Another incident happened when we were pastoring in Hillsdale. The parsonage there was across the street from the church, and my daughter had come home from maybe, I don't know if she'd been at school or where she'd been, but she was carrying a dress. Well, it so happened that in the process of carrying the dress, she dropped a hanger in the middle of the street, which I didn't realize was there. I saw her come home, so I decided to run home and see what everybody was doing. So I go running across the street. Both of my size 13 feet got in one wire hanger. Now, I don't know how that's even possible. If I had tried to plan that, there is no way it would have worked out. But anyway, it happened, and I fell flat on my face, and my daughter said, "Oops," as she realized it was her coat hanger. Well, I survived that one. back to the Adrian situation, we decided to have a pony. So the neighbors had one for sale. Its name was Foxy Lady. And I decided to buy it and to bring it home. We were going to walk it up the road. It was just maybe a quarter mile from our house. And as I started to walk, it shook its head and broke my hand. Well, that did that in, so I said, no more Foxy Lady, you can keep her. So then a little bit later, a friend of ours from the Adrian Church had a pony at her sister's house down in Ohio. So we took the church van with a little trailer behind it, and we went to get Buckshot, was the name of the pony. And Buckshot was riding in the back, so I said, here I was with this lady and me and Buckshot in the rear. But it was an interesting situation. That pony was fun, but it had a way of knowing where the low tree branches were, so it would take that route as you were riding it. It would go under a low tree branch to try to knock our children off. Then there also was we had a collie dog while we were in Michigan. And one day, the collie disappeared, and I got a call. The collie had gone down to where the hospital was in the south end of town, and actually had walked to the door that would automatically open and walked in and was kind of frightening the gal at the desk. The dog was harmless. We went down and picked her up, and it wasn't any problem, but evidently she wanted to go visit people in the hospital. Then another story from Michigan is, when I first moved to Michigan, I didn't realize what winters were like there. And we noticed that the first year we started getting snow. So I just shoveled enough to get the car in and out of the driveway. We didn't have a garage. And so that seemed to be working. Well, the snow kept coming, and I shoveled again. The snow came, and I shoveled again, and I shoveled again. The problem was I didn't realize that the snow didn't leave in a few days. Now, in southern Illinois, we get a snowstorm, and within a few days, the snow is gone. So I said to Norma, well, when do you think this snow is going to be gone? She said, in the spring. And I had not shoveled the driveway wide enough for that situation. So I learned from then on I need to understand Michigan winters a little bit better. Well, these are just a few of my stories. I've got my mug here, and it says, live, laugh, and love. And we certainly want to live, laugh, and love. And I hope you enjoyed these crazy stories. Have a great day.